Hello, it's Derryanne Hubbard from Century 21 and Okanagan Valley Living. I'm a realtor here in Vernon, British Columbia, the Okanagan Valley in Canada. So I wanted to just very briefly talk about a growing trend that I am seeing here in the Okanagan real estate market. It is the trend of writing condition-free offers. Now we are in, I don't know where you are when you're listening to this video, but we are in a very strong seller's market. We have been for quite some time, and it has leveled off a little bit, but it is still very strong seller's market. If a, a, uh, a good neighborhood with a great house comes on the market, there are multiple offers on that house. And one of the things that I'm watching really gain momentum is unconditional offers. As we are working with buyers who have lost out on a house, they put a bid in on, they thought they wrote a really strong offer, usually quite significantly above list price, but they still didn't get it. And maybe it happens again, and even a third time, they start to seriously consider writing condition-free offers. So what are the pros and cons of that? Well, on the pro side for the buyer and the seller is that as soon as that seller signs that contract, the house is sold. No waiting on conditions, no having potential renegotiation of the price because of an inspection, no financing that can fall through, and all of those are very prevalent right now. Buyers are overbidding what they are qualified to buy in an attempt to get a house, and their financing collapses. Buyers are at the very peak of their financial abilities, and then they find out it needs a new furnace or needs a new roof. And they just don't have the cash to do that. So they try to negotiate a price reduction. If the sellers say no, the deal collapses. So we're seeing a fair number of deals collapse for situations like that. So when a condition-free offer comes in, sellers are ecstatic. Often they will take a condition-free offer that is not the highest price because they know it is sold the moment they sign that contract. So that is what buyers want to leverage because they know sellers will be thrilled with a condition-free offer. Now, let's talk about the cons, the negatives. The cons are all on the buyer's side, not the seller's. There is no downside for a seller receiving a condition-free offer. It's bonus for them. But for the buyers, so typically the big ones you're getting rid of are the inspection and the financing. So you always have to remember that financing is based on two things, the buyer and the house. The buyers may be qualified. They may have enough down payment, enough income, the debt they're carrying is appropriate, and they may be qualified. But the bank is going to want to do an appraisal of the house to make sure what the buyers have purchased the house for is justified. And this can be a problem. So there is a risk in writing a finance-free condition. Now, if the buyers have substantial down payment, they're not 5 or 10 or 15% down payments. They are 25, 35, 40%, usually because they've sold another property and they're bringing all that equity to the purchase of their new homes. The appraisal is not such a serious issue because if they have to come up with more money because the appraisal has come in below the purchase price, it's not an issue for them. But if they need all of that down payment, they can't increase it 5 or 10 or 20 or 30,000 because their financing will not be approved then, that is a problem. So the financing condition, it's usually the appraisal because all buyers should be going to the bank to be pre-qualified before they even write an offer. So the bank has already looked at their income, how long they've been at their job, their debt load that they're carrying. And so typically they are already pre-approved, but it's that appraisal piece. So there's the one issue on financing. The other issue is on inspection. Now, just on a side note, I wrote an offer on a house the other day, and the sellers did the home inspection before they listed the property, corrected a number of issues that the inspector found with the property, and when they brought it to sale, the house, put it on the MLS, they attached the inspection report and the corrections that they had completed by professionals. That was such a great idea because it enabled my buyer to review the inspection report, review the corrections that were done, and say, I don't need another inspection. This has all been good. So that is a fantastic idea if you were thinking of selling your house. Yes, an inspection will cost $600, $650, and some corrections may cost money, but reverse it and you now have an accepted offer and the buyers do the inspection. Yes, they pay for it, but when they find out these issues, they're going to want to renegotiate the price, most likely. So you might as well do it up front and get it out of the way, and that will inspire buyers to not put a condition of inspection on it. So that is exactly what my buyer did. Because there was an inspection that was already done, they did not do another one, and they did not need that inspection clause. And because they were pre-approved and they had substantial down payment, that enabled them to write a condition-free offer. So you must be, as a buyer, very aware of the risks. If you write a condition-free offer, you are telling that seller contractually in writing, there are no conditions on this offer, there are no loopholes or means for the buyer to get out of the deal. So you need to be certain of your financing. You need to have a way of dealing with the appraisal if it comes in lower than the purchase price. And you need to know that if you buy a house without an inspection, you are basically buying as is. If there's any issues that come up after you move in, you need to take those on yourself because you did not have it professionally inspected. If there was no inspection report done by the sellers in advance, you are basically saying, I'm taking it as is. I'm not going to have a professional look at it to see if there's things that I don't know what to look for or I don't understand the implications of it. It's like cracks in foundations. There are cracks in everybody's foundations, and most of them are not critical. They're not going to cause the house to fall down. They're not going to cause water seepage into the basement. They are normal settling cracks. But there are other cracks that are very significant. Which cracks are which? That's what a professional needs to tell you. Because unless you're in the concrete business, I'm certainly not, you're not going to know which cracks are, am I fine? All houses have them, and which cracks do I need to be concerned about as a structural foundational issue. So when you do not have an inspection, you are taking it on yourself. Now, here's what some people are doing. The property comes to market on a Monday. They're not looking at offers until the following Monday. So the buyer comes in, likes the property, hires a property inspector to come in prior to writing their offer and do the inspection. So they're not actually not having an inspection done. It's just not conditional on the inspection because they look at that report before they ever write the offer. That's another good way to deal with that. So there's definitely pros and cons. Obviously, an unconditional offer is very, very strong and very appealing to a seller, but there are risks, and buyers need to be aware of those risks and the implications if they go sideways on them. They don't get their financing approved. They find out an issue with the house after they've moved into it. So they need to know those risks when they're writing an unconditional offer. And that's something that you really do need to review with your real estate agent so that you are educated and informed if you choose to go forward with an unconditional offer. So I hope that information is helpful, and I will see you soon.